Welcome back to another episode of Lost in the Farmer's Market Field Trips. These are little shorts that basically cover garden topics, and in this case we're in the test gardens for these two. First and foremost, I started this project and realized that I should probably talk about this to y'all. And the pointy stick of destiny's here because we're at the test gardens. And I don't know if you can see this, but right here in front of the stick is where I snipped off the flowers. Now what we're talking about is deadheading. Now sometimes you want to do it and sometimes you don't, and there are actually camps of people who approve or disapprove of it based on whether or not they want to save seed. Saving seed is harvesting the seed that come out after the flowers do the dew, they get pollinated, and in the case of these snapdragons, this is a Liberty Red snapdragon. Some of the pods are still on because there's still blooms. Right here, these are the pods developing, the ovaries, which will be full of fine seeds later on. I'll snip them because of one reason. In the case of these specimen plants, I actually want them to keep living. Snapdragons are actually perennials. Every time it successfully produces a seed pod full of seed, it's burned energy into that, and it may go kaput afterwards. Now, in the garden, and we're just going to take a little walk over here, which is something we normally don't do for field trips. There's usually no walking. That very plant's cousin, foxglove, which is also in the same family, note the shape of the pods, I'm going to snip these off to encourage side blooms. It's basically the same process for both plants, so I can use the foxgloves here as a stand-in. In this case, the bloom broke in a storm, and I should snip it off. But I'm going to snip down here somewhere, preferably below where new blooms are. And this in turn will stop this foxglove from producing seed. Now, one of two things will happen. It'll continue growing and get vegetative growth, or it'll bloom again. I do not believe this is the biennial type of foxglove. This is the type that persists year after year, and in this climate it was evergreen, so I'm encouraged by this, unlike certain other plants out here who have died. Yeah. So that's deadheading in a nutshell. It is a process. It's normal. Deadheading isn't just a term for hippies anymore. So that's all I've got for you in this little short, and thank